Okay, everybody, Max is back. It's Sunday evening, almost 8 o'clock. The sun is still high in the sky. August 7th. Jenny and Mike have gone to a baseball game. I was invited to go, but I don't care about sports and, sitting on a uncomfortable metal bleachers or whatever the case. No. So I excused myself and didn't accept the invitation. Jenny gets pissed at me because I don't want to do these things. But nonetheless, sheriff's car came down the road a little while ago, and it went out into the cow pasture. Yeah, I was watching from the window. Somebody was down there, car full of kids, guys, somebody, I guess target practicing. And Mike pulled up in his pickup to see who it was and what was going on. And they just kind of bowled past him and threw gravel all over him. And Mike was pissed, and Jenny was pissed. Looked like these, what they were doing was target practicing, shooting cats. Jenny was pissed. Anyway, before Jenny even found out about it, Mike had called the sheriff's department. And Mike had written down the license plate. Jenny went out in the weeds looking for whatever dead cat might be out there, and she ended up thinking they were just shooting up their own beer bottles. So the sheriff's department is running that license plate, and who knows what will come of that, but that was the excitement. The corn is tall and green. The garden is doing, I guess, okay. We had stuffed bell peppers from the garden today for dinner. Summer in South Dakota. I'll come back to that topic, I think, in a minute. I did, as you know, have some trouble for some reason with the last 3 videos I put up. Some people were not able to access them. There was just some aberrant issues, and I don't fully know or understand. And also, yes, I am proud to say that there was some thumbs down. And I do not blame at all the people who did thumbs down. Stand by one, I'm changing screens. Okay, I just want to change to some other screen where I don't have to watch my own face. That's kind of unnerving to me. Okay. And I really think the issue, what the thumbs down and the various negative remarks were about, had to do with the content of those last 3 videos, which was a long drawn out thing, I guarantee. I was just reading a piece, and I think the content of that piece was not well received. And the remarks that came back to me were not really, they weren't, anything horrendous. But I can readily see that you don't criticize Islam. That was the basis. So once again, Max has gone where angels fear to tread, and I can't help that. So anyway, in that long drawn out piece, which was an essay by Matt Bracken, the point was made that we are what we are experiencing on today's planet is the movement of three great social forces. And it's okay with me if people prefer to think of those three great social forces as a geopolitical thing. I don't happen to view it quite that intellectually. I do see it as something else, and something in addition to, and something more than just a geopolitical issue. So the three great social forces that are moving in collision on our planet is number one, Islam. And number two, the Luciferian Satanist New World Order. And then number three are the people of Jesus. There is a connotation, unfortunately, about the use of the word Christian. There's been so much brainwashing and propaganda, just this most intense brainwashing all our lives around the use of the word Christian. So I just, I look for something. There's a lot of negative connotations about that word for a lot of people. And so I think I'm going to start saying, with regard to ourselves, the people of Jesus. Anybody can claim to be the people of God. Even Islam claims to be the people of God, and which, of course, we know they are not. So I guess I'll be a little more specific when I want to reference that, and I will say the people of Jesus. Jesus's people. All right. So on my blog, I have put up a bunch of pieces that are relative to these three great social forces that are moving, as I see and understand them. So it was Saturday afternoon when I realized that there was some interference going on with those three videos. was numbers 29, 30, and 31. So if you were not able to get them, you can still go to the blog and read Matt Bracken's essay and probably get just as much out of that. No, I did not see Islam coming. This has been a year for me personally where I have had a lot of other major issues, major events to contend with, and I was not fully focused only on world and earthly matters. And that's probably one of the reasons I didn't see it coming. Another reason I didn't see it coming is because it was not apparent. It was not clear and it was not apparent. Not in a way that it has become clear and apparent and undeniable in the last 3 months. All right, so one of the pieces I put up had to do with, this is New World Order satanic ritual stuff. The Olympics in Rio. You know, years ago, and I don't know what year this was. It was a long time ago. But I became aware during another year when there were Olympic Games in Rio. And I remember being absolutely just horrified at that time, learning that prior to the Olympics in Rio that year, whenever that was, this was maybe sometime in the 70s or the 80s, that to prepare the city for the Olympics, they had actually this is still just appalling to me to even try to put into words. I wanted to deal with the homeless population and people who would make the city look bad. And they had teams of snipers go out and shoot and kill the homeless children on the street. In any case, the piece I put up on the outside blog is entitled Olympic Giant Vagina Birthing New Race. Oh my God. There's a video which explains all of this. It is the same with all major sporting, music, movie events, and award ceremonies. These are all giant rituals to do with magic and Luciferian false idol worship. This is New World Order stuff, and this is unfortunately true. Just as Lady Gaga told us a new race is being birthed, it is the same with this Rio Olympics. There is a new alien race being birthed. Others are also exposing the truth, but we seem to be under some type of magic spell that prevents us from seeing what is right in front of our eyes. This is the caption from the video. And actually, this was not on a conspiracy site. One of the links comes from Breitbart. Yeah, it's all right. So that is the news, a piece of news coming from the second group of those three great social forces, the New World Order people. My thoughts are not well ordered. I guess you can tell that. One of the things that is bothering me is that today is the first anniversary of my arrival at this location. I didn't want to come here. I wanted to go somewhere else, and I couldn't. But I couldn't stay where I was. And I came here with the idea in my head that it would be temporary. It turned out to be a much more difficult year than expected. For some reasons that I haven't said very much about and am not going to say very much about. But it has not been easy. It has not been an easy year at all. And the last 3 months have been absolutely horrible for quite a different reason. But a year it is. It isn't temporary. I am still so homesick. And not for the place I left. It's a different kind of homesick. I am very much out of place here. There's no way in the world that I can fit comfortably into the environment or into the community or into the conditions. I still feel a stranger in a land that is foreign and quite hostile. The environment certainly is hostile. The climate environment is hostile. And one of the things that happened to me on my arrival a year ago was something I could equate it to being like some kind of mini stroke. I got off the airplane in Sioux Falls, and my sense of my inboard sense of direction was gone. Completely, totally gone. I barely could tell up from down. The four directions were totally gone. And that has not returned. So the sun and the moon are always in the wrong place. The lights and shadows are always wrong. There are no landmarks. Everything is very flat. One farm looks exactly like another farm. All the corners are, it's the roads and everything is laid out on a grid. And even when I go with Jenny occasionally to the big home improvement, do-it-yourself store in town, I have no sense of direction in the store either. Very large store, and I don't think by myself I could find my way back to the door. All this is very disconcerting, and it is not something that I have adjusted to or gotten used to. Further, this is not the first time that this phenomena has happened to me. A couple of years ago, when I was up in the wilderness on Mount Spokane, my sense of direction was gone there too. And that went on also, did not correct until many months passed, and eventually I was able to escape from that situation. And when I was driving on I-5 South, going back to California, something switched, spun around, and my sense of direction returned and remained present. That was very comforting to me. It remained present for, I don't know, the year and a half, close to 2 years that I remained in California. But then, when I got out of that plane at Sioux City, it was gone. It's very much like having a mini stroke. And it doesn't matter. That does not matter at all how many times Jenny has pointed and told me, well, the sun comes up over here. And that doesn't help. That kind of orientation, information, does not restore that inner whatever that inner sense of direction thing is. So I struggle with that. Therefore, I'm not competent to drive. If I could. The keys there's 3 big vehicles here all the time. The keys are left in them. I could go out and get in one of those pickups and go somewhere, but I would never find my way back, and I know I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Because it just all spins around, and no matter which way I'm really going or facing, it always seems like the same direction. So it's bewildering to explain, and there's no fix for it, and it's just it's a minor, but it's a strange aggravation as well. I don't really like doing these videos. I am not a talker. I have never been a talker. my best communication skill has been in being a really, really good listener. And I don't know, this is a little harder to do. So I kind of got off, I don't know what I even started to say other than this has been a hard year, and I dreaded the anniversary of being here for a year. I have not looked forward to that. Because now I know I've got to double down and I have to write the last chapter. And I don't think the last chapter is going to have a happy ending. All right. You know, I'm doing such a fucked up job right now with this. I may delete it. I'm not. This isn't cool at all. One of the Christian watchmen said something that I thought was interesting and maybe true, maybe correct. Perhaps I should use that word, maybe correct. I don't know if he was relating, if this was his own idea or if he was, I don't know what the source of this comment was actually, but what he said was that before God destroys the United States of America, God was going to show the people the evil and the criminality of the leaders. So to rewind on that a little bit, you know, I'm not on the same page with the Christian watchmen that I hear who do have divergent opinions, and it's certainly opinions that differ from my own, in that the time of the end must necessarily include the complete destruction of America. I myself do not believe that. I don't think that that is God's intention at all. But be that as it may, the part of that that I want to focus on is the statement that the evils of the leaders would be exposed. The people must know what has been done in their name. I kind of think that part could be true, and I kind of think that is maybe happening, beginning to happen. This week, there was what was considered a bombshell expose of the criminality of John McCain. I actually was listening to True News when a reporter came into that newsroom and gave the report and actually played the recording of John McCain's Tokyo Rose, confession. Now, I was surprised because I didn't think there was any remaining question about that. And I realized that I spent most of my adult years around many in the military community. And the Vietnam vets all knew what John McCain had done. There were too many POWs who came back and told. Not enough of them did come back, but all right. So this was a long ago issue from the Vietnam War, and many younger people today didn't know about it and still don't really know about it, or may not even care. So when I heard that broadcast, I was kind of surprised, and I didn't really realize it was new news. I had always known it, but it was really new news to most of the population of the United States. And my impression is that this really threw a curve to the Republican Party. So if you're interested in that, you can easily find it because it has gone viral now. This is a huge piece, and hopefully there is no way in the world that John McCain can again takes a position of senator from the state of Arizona. I know people in Arizona absolutely hate his ass and have hated his ass for years. But he's also the senior member on the Senate Armed Forces Committee. And he has wielded a great deal of influence and power over the war machine. John McCain is a very, very evil New World Order player. So it is fortuitous, and I hope it is, the hand of God who has revealed this truth to the American public. And it seems that there must have been divine intervention. There was a copy of this recording, and this recording, was played over and over and over overseas, and it was played in Vietnam, and it was played to the American POWs during the Vietnam War. But it was never, ever even hinted at or admitted to exist in the United States. So this one reporter, who is in the alternative news, somehow was in the, what was it? National Archives, and he found this recording where it had been misfiled somewhere. He found it. And somehow he got it out of the National Archives. Oh, this actually is a big deal. And I think the hand of God moved to enable that to happen. And it perhaps may be something in a similar manner is taking place with regard to Hillary and the emails, because she is really getting her ass wiped by all of that. And there is no way to keep that information now away from the American public. Changing screens here for a minute. I don't remember if I have put up too much information. I kind of was waiting to see where that was going to go before I posted too much about it. But it's all over everywhere else. You will not have a problem finding it. I just came across this other, this is similar but related, and that is Hillary's health condition, where she seems to have had seizures in public and just a lot about her physical health that cannot be concealed from the public. The questionable health condition of Hillary Clinton should be a major issue of the 2016 campaign. The latest evidence comes in the form of Clinton being helped up a set of stairs by multiple individuals outside what appears to be somebody's home. The photos published by Reuters and Getty show the 68-year-old candidate with AIDS holding her arms as she ascends the stairs. I will put these pictures up. But some of these comments are just so funny. Stairs are a real problem for Hillary. And there's a Twitter picture which I will put up. Somebody says the other shows as she makes it to the top, but not without assistance. Somebody says, quick, get that woman a cane. K-A-I-N-E. Tim Kaine. That's her running VP guy, who sold the state of Virginia to Islam when he was governor. At what point is the mainstream media going to question Clinton's health status? Older comments. Neither mentally or physically fit to be a McDonald's employee, never mind president. I only wish she fell and broke her neck. Ulcers, mental instability, can't walk, married to Bill. Tertiary syphilis. Can't wait till the horror strikes out on stage in front of the whole country. Seeing her flopping on the floor like a fish will raise morale across the board. She's a medical train wreck, and Bill is now showing signs of vascular dementia. When the hell are the Democrats going to pull the plug on these two? I think Trump and Clinton should strike a deal and both bow out. Trump doesn't really want it, and the brain-dead and sedentary Clinton is just plain pathetic. Let Kaine run against Pence. Somebody else says, not her fault. Someone deleted one of the steps. I would pay $10,000 to see her tumble backwards down those steps. Mr. Trump, get this information to the debate. Get this information to a commercial. Get this information to the voters. She is unfit to be president. Somebody else says, deport all Trump voters to Russia. Somebody else says, don't worry, people. If anything happens, they will have Hillary's brain in a jar in the Oval Office. She and Obama are just George Soros' puppets anyway. They are the mouth and Soros is the voice. Hail the globalist one world order. Yes, that explains why you never see her coming down the stairs from her airplane. Come to think about it, you never do see that. All right, so much for that. Oops. Then I put up a very long, garbled, very long piece. But for those of us who have been studying all of this for our many years, this is familiar material. And all of this may somehow also make it to an expose, finally. Who knows? The Clintons' body bag count. I'm not going to go through it all, but it's all. I put this very long piece up here. Still scrolling. Very long piece. And it begins, I kind of hated to see this, with Ambassador Lee E. Wanta. Remember him? Oh my God. There was, this is true, this is factual, there was a Lee E. Wanta. And he was a special aide of some kind to Ronald Reagan. And Lee Wanta was a financial genius, among other skills. And he single-handedly is the one who brought down the economy of the Soviet Union. It was a huge and very dirty story at the time, but of course the way it was portrayed to the American public, Lee Wanta was a hero. And it was not stated what he had done, what he and Reagan had done to collapse the Soviet Union. Since then, he has had a very colorful, crazy history. I don't know if the party playing the part now of Lee Wanta is in fact the same person who worked with Reagan back in the Reagan years. And it has been a rabbit hole and a half trying to figure out what the hell actually went on with Ambassador Lee E. Wanta, who I believe is still incarcerated somewhere. Anyway, this big document that I have posted on my blog begins with a letter from Ambassador Lee Wanta, which is dated Sunday, August 7th, 2016 at 7:58 a.m. and is addressed to Richard Davidson at whitehouse.senate.gov. and it was copied to a alternative news party is how it got out here. This, I think, would, if we went in and tried to explore any of this, this would probably take a month to just go through the basics of it. Subject, the Clinton body bags. Please add to your list of Clinton's body bags more people, including 36 of the U.S. heroes, U.S. generals and admirals who were on a plane to go to Washington in order to arrest President Bill Clinton, an illegitimate grandson of David Rockefeller. 36 of the U.S. heroes, U.S. generals and admirals who were on a plane to go to Washington in order to arrest Bill Clinton. That's a repeat, sorry. Please read below and attached Sherman H. Skolnick articles. I agree with you, and I am shocked too that Hillary Clinton, a war criminal, wants to run for president. Read attached Mr. Skolnick articles. At this time, I was certain that the Federal Reserve System, not our U.S. central bank, was about to be lawfully abolished. Then Oklahoma City happened, and suddenly all of the men who were working to restore gold-backed currencies were gone. Disappointed, I never knew if they were dead or went underground. These American heroes, generals, and admirals were assassinated on their way to arrest Clinton. They had videos showing the Clintons selling nuclear secrets to China and Israel. Here's what I wrote about the generals and admirals coup d'etat back in 1998. Here's the deal. On April 17, 1995, a Learjet crashed. On board were generals and admirals who were getting ready to arrest Bill Clinton for treason. 2 days later, the Murrah building was bombed, and we heard no more about this mysterious plane crash. I kind of do remember that plane crash. And of course, after the Murrah building went up, was bombed, you never heard of that mysterious plane crash again. The treason they were going to arrest him for involved the normalization of relations with Vietnam. Evidently, Commerce Secretary Ron Brown had been paid $700,000 to rush through this normalization path. I remember Ron Brown. The black population around the area of California where I lived absolutely idolized Ron Brown. And so did all the servicemen. They loved Ron Brown. Ron Brown's death came as a horrible shock to a lot of people. The only thing that stood in the way was the American POWs that Vietnam still held. The decision was made by a few covert men to try to rescue some of the POWs before the normalization took place. The story, which has been confirmed by Joe Jordan of the National POW Task Force and by Sarah McClendon, the senior White House correspondent. is that close to 30 live POWs were brought out of Vietnam and taken to Leavenworth Prison to get them ready to be absorbed back into society. Evidently, one of these former POWs was also on board the Learjet that crashed on April 17, 1995. The generals and admirals were getting ready to go public with the proof that there were other POWs left behind in Vietnam after the normalization treaty was signed. According to Joe Jordan, these men were murdered by the Vietnamese shortly after the United States signed the normalization treaty. If this story had gotten out, charges of treason would have been filed against the president and many of his cabinet. Therefore, a major diversion needed to be created. The people who were doing the accusing needed to be put on the spot. The president and his advisors silenced the ever-growing chorus of critics by accusing them of creating the atmosphere that generated the Oklahoma City bombing. This that I'm reading is correct history, as I knew and was aware of it at the time. This is what happened. That is the tip of the iceberg of this very, very large document that I have put up that has to do with the Clinton's body bag count. There are many live links, many live links. This would take days and weeks to study all of this. I don't know that there will be time or interest to go into it. But one way or another, much of this information, true information, I think is now coming to the fore, and that Christian Watchman's observation may be, in fact, absolutely right on. So between the John McCain revelation and all this interest about the body bag count of Hillary Clinton, what was it? It was five new deaths in less than 6 weeks. And several of those deaths, of course, occurred during and at the Democratic convention. It is believed that one of the parties who was murdered was, this was a young guy. I believe he was 24 years old. And he had a position on the Hillary campaign team as, oh, what the hell was that? It had the name of the title of his position had to do with increasing the number of Democratic voters, whatever you call that. Anyway, it is believed that he is the one who actually leaked the now famous Clinton emails concerning all that they tried to blame on Russia. That's what he was, why he was murdered. Okay, going on from that. What else is there here? I think the last piece that I have posted is from Dave Hodges. And he has put up the same kind of information as many, many, many other people, reporters, and various sites having to do with Clinton death squads. The trail of bodies have continued to grow at every stop of Bill and Hillary's rise to power. These accidents can no longer be explained away as mere coincidence. The details are in this video. These are the bodies that only covered the past 6 weeks in the face of the email investigation. So that video is posted. A legacy of questionable value. A picture of JFK Jr. After the Senate, the next step would have been the White House. JFK's plane was sabotaged so it would crash. The motive? To eliminate the one political opponent that Hillary wouldn't have a prayer of beating in an election. The charming JFK Jr. Yes, his plane was crashed. Apparently the co-pilot, I don't know, there were multiple versions of exactly how that plane was brought down into the ocean. Multiple versions of that. Conspiracy theorists worked on that murder extensively. I believe the truth of that will also surface. It is believed by some that George Bush Jr., Shrub, is the one who actually facilitated the takeout of JFK Jr. Going on, the video only dealt with alleged Clinton-inspired crimes, covering the past several weeks. Here are a couple of more reminders from the past about who and what America is ready to elect. One of the most notorious of the murders was James McDougal. Clinton's convicted Whitewater partner died of an apparent heart attack while in solitary confinement. He was a key witness in Ken Starr's investigation. Was James McDougal murdered in a federal prison to silence him? Ron Brown, Secretary of Commerce and former DNC chairman, reported to have died by impact in a plane crash. A pathologist close to the investigation reported that there was a hole in the top of Brown's skull resembling a gunshot wound. At the time of his death, Brown was being investigated and spoke publicly of his willingness to cut a deal with prosecutors. The botched Ron Brown investigation, link to that. How many people were murdered by guns obtained courtesy of the Clinton Foundation when she was Secretary of State? You know, Sipsey, I have followed Sipsey for a long time. Sipsey and a colleague of his were the ones who actually broke the story, figured out what the hell was going on with Fast and Furious and the Gunwalker thing. The depopulation agenda to be continued under Clinton. Should we be surprised at the Clinton trail of bodies? Look at the background of this picture. This is who she really works for, and will continue to work for them even if she is elected president. And she's standing there looking all goofy. In front of the backdrop is the Council of Foreign Relations wallpaper. Picture of Clinton with a caption saying, "I'm with her." And that was a paraphrase, you know, of JFK when he went to Paris. When he went to Paris, and the French people were so adoring of Jackie that they just practically ignored JFK, and he was so cool, and he was so great when he said that he would be remembered as the man who accompanied Jacqueline Kennedy to Paris. So here we have Bill Clinton with this little sign in front of his podium saying, "I'm with her." Good God. And then to finish up Dave Hodges' piece is a picture of a cemetery, a crowded cemetery, many upright tombstones, with the caption, "They were with her too. Everything Clinton touches dies." So it is fortuitous that possibly due to the alternative media and the conspiracy theorists and the alternative media and Trump, that a whole lot of truth is going to come out. That would be very fortuitous, and it may be that what that Christian watchman said was correct, that God will make it possible for the American people to know the evil that their leaders have done in their name before destroying the United States, if in fact that is what God, however, is not a destroyer. The Father of Jesus, that God, is not a destroyer. And the battle on that score, as we have been told numerous times, is between God, the Father of Jesus, and Satan, the father of the demons. I do believe that Satan has and will continue to do any and every act of destruction possible. That is who the destroyer is. Anyway, these are just my strange sideways views of some of this. There was another piece I have to go back in here and find it. I set it aside. I've just kind of been thinking about it, continuing to think about it in the back of my mind. I don't know if I'll even post this. It scrolled through on bin very quickly. It was there 1 minute and then, scrolled off the page, never came back. The author is unknown. The contributor is unknown. I looked up the title, and the title took me to a conspiracy site, but the article was not on the conspiracy site. There was another article that had that title and was related, but this is some unknown person's thoughts on this matter. So I don't know if I will post this, but I will read it and I will make a few comments. Cern, opening up time portals for demonic transfer into the past. Now, that title, there is an article by that title on this conspiracy site, which I found. But this unknown writer goes on to say, this morning as I was walking my dog, the Lord spoke to me about Cern. I don't know whether you just read all kinds of people thinking they got all kinds of prophecies, a lot of which sound absolutely nuts to me. So I don't really know. But yet there is indwelling. I do know for a fact there, in my own certainty, there is indwelling knowing that comes from somewhere. I have it, and this cannot be unique to me. It took me a long time to learn to consider it valid and really have enough confidence to act and speak based on something so nebulous as just an inner knowingness. But regardless, if I have that capacity at all, it is therefore possible that others do too, because there is nothing unique about me whatsoever. So that is one way I can rationalize paying attention to some of these things that people say. So this writer says, this morning as I was walking my dog, the Lord spoke to me about Cern. So because I can only judge others by myself, I have to imagine that this individual felt some kind of inner knowing versus actually, hearing words. But however, what their true hidden agenda is, the Holy Spirit said that time portals are being opened so that the powers of darkness, aka the fallen angels, can go back into the earth's past to affect times and seasons. The dark plan of Cern is to try to change our future by changing our past, to hinder or to stop the sons of God from coming into their divine destinies. The Lord made it clear that we need to pray that the angels of the Lord to close these time portals. Our call and election, the heart and purpose for coming to this earth, is being altered. And we need to rise up and pray to block the forces of darkness from going into the past. Cern is more evil than what we can imagine. Satan and the fallen angels are locked into linear time. They need man's intervention to open up these time portals. God has given us the authority in the name of the Lamb to bind and to loosen. Rise up, army of the Most High. Intercede and block Satan's attempt to alter our divine destinies. All right, I'm now going where angels fear to tread, and I'm out of sight of. If I was on a boat, I would be out of sight of land, in uncharted waters. In my thoughts about this. First, Back to the Future, that movie, Back to the Future, wasn't that the gist of that storyline? The time portals are being opened so that the powers of darkness, aka the fallen angels, can go back into the earth's past to affect times and seasons. One of the things that strikes me about this statement is because everything else I have read related to this has it the other way around. That the Cern portals are being opened to let in powers of darkness, demonic spirits. And you know, this is we have talked quite extensively about the satanic use of reversal. So if they are saying over and over and over again through all these different mouthpieces, whoever the hell has spoken or written about this extensively, you know, this has been a large topic. Many people have talked about this online and in videos and on and on and on. And everything, all the references have to do with Cern opening portals to let in demonic energies. Reversal. What if really how it is what this individual says, that they're trying to open the Cern portals as an escape hatch so they can get into that portal and go back in the past, where back in the past they were given time. God granted them time back in the past. So yeah, I can see where they would want to open a time portal and go back in the past. They know Jesus is coming, and this is possibly an escape hatch. And we see that picture mirrored in such things as all the underground tunnels and so forth under the Denver airport. All these underground tunnels where you know, the elite have gone into hiding and are going into hiding. just like their companions who may want to be escaping through a tunnel, a portal, going back into the past. There's some precedent for this here. The dark plan of Cern is to try to change our future by changing our past. Yeah, that certainly may be part of it, but I can see them using that as a method, as a place to escape to. So there would be these three reasons then. The third reason being to hinder or to stop the sons of God from coming into their divine destinies. I think there's some truth to that. And I base that on my own experience, my own inner knowing. This whole thing has dragged on and dragged on and dragged on. The Christian watchman, every now and again, another Christian watchman will come forth with some reason to offer as the explanation why this has dragged on so long. To hinder or to stop the sons of God from coming into their divine destinies. I know that I have a divine destiny, a destiny that was given to me, that was promised to me. By the God who is Jesus's Father. That God promised me something. And that has been withheld from me. There has been interference. I'm not okay with that. I know something got fucked somewhere. And this is as good as explanation as any I know of. To hinder or to stop the sons of God from coming into their divine destinies. Okay, going on. The Lord made it clear that we need to pray that the angels of the Lord to close these time portals. Our call and election, the heart and purpose for coming to this earth is being altered. And we need to rise up and pray to block the forces of darkness from going into the past. You know, I just feel that this is, we may not understand it. It's very hard to verbalize. It's very hard to, but our call and election, the heart and purpose for coming to this earth is being altered. And that's why we can't get anywhere. It's just like being diddled along and diddled along and diddled along, and we just don't ever quite get there. Many people, and I'm sure I'm not speaking just for myself, many people are at the end of their strength, just not hardly able to go on another minute, another step with all of this. It has been a long, drawn out, hard march, way past the point in time when the truth should have come out. It has gone way past. This is where the Mandela effect seems to enter in. At least that's where it enters in my thinking. We know that something is going on with the Mandela effect. We know that they couldn't do new creation of anything. They can't create anything new, but they can manipulate that which already is created. And so doing signs and wonders, the Mandela effect is one of the signs and wonders. And maybe they have done that through Cern. And all this is just so very typical of the psychopaths. So very typical of the displayed behavior that we know when we Cern is more evil than what we can imagine. Yes, if Cern provided them the ability to escape back into the past, to a point in the past where they were given linear time, granted linear time, where that's how they would get away from the second coming of Christ. That would be more evil than what we can imagine. Sure as hell would. And knowing now what they know now, which seemed 1,400 years ago or whenever, at whatever point in distant history they would want to return to, they didn't know in detail what this future would look like, any more than we know what the future of next year is going to look like. I doubt they have the spirit of prophecy. I don't think that. But now that they know, they've been here in the present, and now they want to climb in that Cern tunnel and go back to the past, armed with much more knowledge. That's more evil than we can imagine. And this is just so crazy and far out. What am I even doing talking about it? But nonetheless, going on. Satan and the fallen angels are locked into linear time. I can comprehend that. That is probably correct. They are locked into linear time. I believe that the Holy Spirit, however, can go backward and forward in time, and sideways and up and down and wherever. I believe the Holy Spirit is not locked into linear time, but I think that that Satan and the demonic forces are. They can only go in one way. Just like my lifetime can only go in one way, forward into the future. We can't go back. They can't go back either. Unless they open the Cern thing. That's their escape hatch. So they need man's interventions to open up these time portals. I guess man's interventions in this, I'm not quite sure what that would be, but building the super collider, building that Gothard tunnel, building these things, is that what they need man to do? So they've had to infiltrate great numbers of physical human bodies in order to do some of their shit. God has given us the authority in the name of the Lamb to bind and to loosen. There is a scripture that says that. I will have to look it up. I don't know exactly off the top of my head where that scripture is, but that is scripturally correct. Rise up, army of the Most High, intercede and block Satan's attempt to alter our divine destinies. And the Christian watchmen have been calling for, and working with intercessors. And I think that, I'm not churchy. I'm just not churchy. There's all of this, a lot of this is just not I don't have the background, a lot of the background. So at this moment, I'm not going to say much more about the intercession, other than I am aware that there are people who are doing nothing but doing intercession. All right. Okay, I will put this piece up. So I don't know who this unknown author, contributor who wrote this, but I thought about it, and I continue to think about it, and I kind of get it. I kind of think this is how it is. It's not that ETs, extraterrestrials, or other dimensionals, or more demons are going to get off the planet Nibiru and come through Cern into our dimension, or whatever all that craziness is. But I can comprehend that the demonic forces may think they can escape from the second coming of Jesus the Christ and get away from God the Father by going in backwards into the time portals. And that makes sense to me. By the way, there is a distinction between fallen angels and demons. Those words are not really interchangeable. Fallen angels is one category, and demons are another category of entity. Demons are the direct spawn of the great Satan. He is their Father. And I believe that, well, who knows? I won't even say that. But just so you know that there are two different categories. Fallen angels are not demons. Fallen angels are angels that have fallen. Demons are the sons of uh, Satan. Okay, that's enough. Let me out of here. Let me out of here. It's just hard. A lot of it is hard, you guys. I cry mostly. I cry all night, and it's not easy. Okay, enough. Talk to you later, Gator. Remember you're loved.